time that a new shooter has a malfunction in the firearm, they are often just a nervous wreck. If they're not very familiar with handguns, with any type of firearm for that matter, and they have a malfunction, a lot of times they simply do not know what to do. What I'm going to do in this video is actually demonstrate a couple of common ways to deal with a few of the most common malfunctions that you'll see in a firearm. The first is what is known as a stovepipe. You can see here the cartridge has not ejected all of the way. But what would you do? A lot of new shooters, they would not know for sure how to handle this. Well, the first thing that you need to do is to keep the weapon pointed downrange, no matter what. I mean, that's just the main thing right there. If when you want to clear a fault, you need to keep that weapon pointed downrange. You also need to keep your finger off of the trigger, and some weapons will actually have a manual safety, so you want to go ahead and engage that manual safety. Now, the process in clearing a failure like this is very simple. Of course, you want to tap to make sure that the magazine is fully engaged. You want to roll that firearm over and then simply pull that slide back and rack that slide, and the malfunction should follow out. I mean, you want to make sure that it's clear. And what we're ready to do now is actually to see if the firearm is back in service. Going to put the hearing protection back on. Step back over here. And you can see that's how you will clear a stovepipe. Another very common malfunction in a firearm is a misfeed. Now that can happen if when you're holding your firearm and you're going to hit the magazine release, you can actually cause that magazine to fall out slightly from the firearm. So it may drop completely out and it may not. If you have a good grip on your firearm, the magazine may not fall all the way out, but drop enough to where it will not be able to chamber the next round. Now let's see what that looks like. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to let that magazine fall just a bit. You can see it is protruding from the bottom of my pistol slightly. And if I had a solid grip on this, I may or may not notice that. But let's show you what that looks like. And we can see that that has caused another malfunction. Now what we're going to do now is actually drop the magazine out of the weapon, and we're going to actually roll that weapon over and once again cycle that slide to ensure that the cartridge that got stuck in there falls out. That may or may not happen. A lot of times what will happen if you have that magazine slightly out is that it just will simply close on an empty chamber. It will not have anything in there. When you pull that trigger, all you'll hear is a click, just like that. For this next demonstration, I'm actually going to use a couple of snap caps just for safety purposes. This is sometimes known as a double feed. For whatever reason, if a cartridge does not get stripped completely out of the chamber, and then the firearm does cycle back and actually tries to load another round within that chamber, and this is something that can look something similar to this. You can see there that that other round has tried to load, but it can't, and then we still have a casing in that chamber. Now simply trying to pull that back will not get that out. It's just not going to fall out of there. So the way that we will deal with this is, once again, keep that weapon pointed downrange, keep your finger off the trigger, engage a manual safety if you have it. And what you want to do is actually press the magazine release and hold it down. And you want to grab that magazine and strip it out of the firearm. And you can see that it has now closed that chamber. You will then want to rotate that gun over again and cycle that action a few times. Make sure it's clear. You may even want to lock that action back and then visually inspect it. Guys, these are just a few of the more common malfunctions that can happen with a firearm when you're out shooting. Once again, safety first. Always make sure that you keep that weapon pointed downrange. Keep your finger off of the trigger. Anyways, guys, hope you liked the video. I would appreciate it if you'd give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.